The locked building, the rain drummed against the tall windows of the downtown office building as Sophia finally lifted her eyes from her computer screen. The soft glow of her monitor was the only light left in the vast open workspace. She blinked, realizing for the first time that complete silence surrounded her. Everyone had gone home. The desks sat empty, their monitors dark and lifeless. Even the reception area at the front of the building had fallen quiet. Perfect, she whispered to herself, standing up from her chair. Her heels clicked softly against the polished floor as she walked toward the elevator bank. She pressed the down button and waited. Nothing happened. She pressed it again, harder this time. Still nothing. A cold knot formed in her stomach as she pulled out her phone. The screen was completely black, dead battery. Sophia hurried to the back stairwell and grabbed the door handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked tight. That's when she heard them. Footsteps. Not hurried or panicked, but slow and deliberate. They echoed from somewhere down the hallway, growing closer. Her breath caught in her throat as a familiar figure emerged from the shadows. Andrew stopped directly in front of her. Gone was his usual business suit. Instead, he wore dark slacks and a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up and the collar unbuttoned. His expression was unreadable. "Forgot someone was still here," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight in the empty building. Sophia straightened her shoulders. "I didn't mean to stay so late. I lost track of time." I took a step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "Building locks everything at 9. Automatic security system. No one can leave until it resets at 6 in the morning." 6. Her voice cracked slightly. He nodded, then slowly reached behind her and turned the deadbolt on the hallway door. The click echoed in the silence. "But there's one room that doesn't. Lock automatically," he said quietly. Sophia's heart jumped. She should have felt afraid, but her body didn't flinch. Andrew walked away with measured steps, then paused and looked back at her. "Are you coming?" Without thinking, her feet began to move. Crossing lines, Andrew led her into his private office. The space was elegant and clean, with a marble desk and soft golden lighting that made everything feel warm and intimate. Only the sound of her breathing filled the silence. Door behind them. This time, she heard the lock turn. Andrew leaned against his desk and studied her face. His jaw was set, his eyes warm but sharp. "Sophia, you've been avoiding me." She opened her mouth to deny it, but something about the moment made her close it again. "You're careful, smart, hardworking, but I see you." His voice dropped lower as he spoke. "See how your eyes drop when I walk into the room? How you hold your breath when I pass your desk?" Her skin flushed. Her hands trembled slightly, but she didn't move. "You think I don't notice, Sophia? I notice everything in my office." She felt like he'd stripped her bare with words alone. Then he reached out. He didn't touch her, but his fingers hovered near her wrist. Her skin seemed to light up just being that close to him. "Have you ever been kissed in a place like this?" he asked softly. She shook her head. He stepped behind her, his breath warm. Against her ear, "Have you ever let someone show you what happens when you stop being so careful?" Her breath hitched. He brushed her hair back slowly. "Tell me to stop, Sophia." She didn't. His hands found her hips, firm and controlling. He turned her toward the glass wall of the office. "Look," he whispered. "You can see your own reflection." She saw herself, lips parted, eyes wide, and him behind her. His mouth touched her neck, warm and possessive. Her knees weakened, and he caught her before she could fall. "No one will come," he whispered. She believed him. She let him lift her. Onto his desk, her skirt slipping higher. His mouth never left her skin. She had never been touched like this, never been taken with such quiet, practiced hunger. She wasn't Sophia the intern anymore. She was his. And in that locked office under that golden light, she let go completely. Conference room confessions, the days after that night passed in a haze. Sophia floated through meetings and tasks like she was walking on silk. Her senses were tangled in memories that wouldn't leave her. She still felt his breath on her skin, the warmth of his mouth on her neck, the sound of the lock clicking behind her like a spell being sealed. Andrew, however, became different. Not hostile, but controlled. Every word he spoke to her in meetings was professional. His eyes never lingered, not during the day, but when they passed each other in the hallway, when their hands brushed as he handed her a file, she felt it. That tension, that quiet feral heat beneath his calm exterior. And every time it happened, something inside her unraveled just a little more. It was Thursday when the real shift began. Sophia had stayed late again, working on design revisions for a new hotel wing in Rome. The glowing blueprints stretched across her monitor, her eyes stinging from the light. Most of the building had emptied. The silence made the air thick. She gathered her files and reached for her bag when a voice behind her made her spine straighten. "You're still here," she turned slowly. Andrew stood at the edge of her cubicle, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a tumbler of something dark. His jacket was gone, tie loosened, sleeves rolled. The shirt was open at the throat, revealing the curve of his collarbone. She swallowed, just finishing the layout for the terrace extension. Tilted his head slightly. "Come with me." She followed him without a word, the click of her heels loud in the quiet. He led her into the glass-walled conference room. The long table sat empty, while city lights poured through the windows like soft fire. The skyline behind them pulsed red from the neon signs across the street. Andrew stepped inside but didn't wait for her to sit. Close the door, she did. He slowly rolled the blinds down one by one, dimming the room until it was nothing but red light outside and low golden ceiling light inside. "You wore that skirt on purpose," he said, facing the windows. She looked down at her black pencil skirt, tight and high on the thigh. "I didn't think," he turned, cutting her off with just his eyes. "Don't lie to me, Sophia. Not in this room." She didn't speak. He crossed the space between them and stopped only when her back hit the edge of the table. "I told myself that night was a mistake," he said. His voice was lower now, rougher. "I told myself I wouldn't touch you again." His hands hovered at her hips. "But then you walked past my office this morning, and your perfume lingered for 5 minutes after you left." His fingers grazed her side. "Oh, and I knew," he whispered, "that I was going to break every rule for you." Breaking points, her breath hitched as he slid his hands up her arms over her shoulders until he cradled her face in his palms. His thumbs traced her lips. "Say no, and I'll stop," he said. She didn't say anything. His lips met hers like a promise. Deep and slow, the kind of kiss that broke through time. It wasn't rushed or polite. It was ownership. She melted into it, her body pressing against his, heart pounding loud enough she was sure he could hear. His hands didn't stay still. He lifted her onto the polished wood of the table, parting her legs gently with his knee. The glass walls reflected, their bodies back to them, but she didn't care. She wanted him to see her. He unbuttoned her blouse with deliberate slowness, his eyes never leaving hers. Each button that came undone felt like another barrier falling away. "You have no idea what you do to me," he whispered against her ear. "How you've completely undone every wall I've built." She could feel the truth in his words, in the way his hands trembled slightly as they traced her skin. And hearing his name on her lips seemed to break something in him. He kissed her again, harder this time, more desperate. His control was slipping, and she could feel it. The powerful CEO who commanded boardrooms and made million-dollar decisions was falling apart in her arms. "I can't stop thinking about you," he confessed between kisses. "In meetings, at home, everywhere. You're always there." She pulled back to look at him, really look at him. For the first time, she saw past the authority and the perfectly pressed shirts. She saw a man who was just, as lost as she was. "Then don't stop," she whispered. The words hung between them like a challenge, a promise, a confession, all at once. He studied her face in the dim light, searching for something. Whatever he found, there must have been enough, because he smiled. Not his professional smile, but something real and vulnerable. "You're going to change everything," he said quietly. "Maybe that's what we both need," she replied. As the city lights painted patterns on the conference room walls, they discovered that some rules were meant to be broken. Some walls were meant to come down. And sometimes, the most unexpected moments could reshape everything you thought you knew about yourself. New beginnings 3 months later, Sophia stood in the same conference room, but everything had changed. The morning sun streamed through the windows she and Andrew had once hidden behind closed blinds. Her reflection in the glass showed a woman, transformed, confident, radiant, no longer the careful intern who had once been afraid to meet her boss's eyes. Andrew entered carrying 2 cups of coffee, his tie already loosened even though the day had barely begun. He set 1 cup in front of her and kissed her temple softly. "Ready for the presentation?" he asked. She nodded, looking down at the portfolio. That contained her designs for the Rome Hotel project, the same project she'd been working on that Thursday night when everything between them had shifted. "The board is going to love it," he said, genuine pride in his voice. "You've earned this promotion, Sophia. Not because of us, but because you're brilliant." She turned to face him fully. "Are you sure this is what you want? People will talk. They'll say I only got ahead because he silenced her with a kiss. Let them talk. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's all that matters." The door opened, and other executives began filing in for the morning meeting. Andrew straightened his tie and moved to his usual seat at the head of the table, but not before giving her hand a gentle squeeze. As the meeting began, Sophia presented her designs with confidence she'd never known she possessed. The board members nodded approvingly. Questions were asked and answered. Contracts were discussed. When it was over, Andrew stood and announced what everyone already suspected. "I'm pleased to promote Sophia to senior designer, effective immediately. She'll be overseeing the Rome project from start to finish." Applause filled the room. Sophia accepted congratulations and handshakes, but her eyes kept finding Andrew's across the table. Later, as the office emptied for the evening, they found themselves alone again, but this time there were no locked doors or hidden moments. They were finally free to be themselves. "So," Andrew said, loosening his tie completely, "what do you say we celebrate your promotion? I know a place with excellent wine and terrible elevator music." Sophia laughed, the sound bright and free. "Are you asking me on a real date, Mr. CEO? I'm asking the most talented designer I know if she'd like to have dinner with the man who's completely crazy about her." She walked over to him, straightening his collar with familiar ease. "I thought you'd never ask." As they left the building, together, hand in hand, Sophia glanced back at the conference room one last time. The place where she'd learned that sometimes the most beautiful things happen when you stop being careful. When you let someone see who you really are. The rain had stopped. The city lights twinkled like promises. And for the first time in her life, Sophia wasn't afraid of what tomorrow might bring. She was ready for everything. The end.